Coming up in this WIEC reviews, it has uncovered a grand scheme by some institutions to engage in mass cheating in the ongoing WASI taking place in 1,000 centers across the country.
We are very much aware that they are charging candidates between 200 and 500 Ghana cedis in some of the areas. Then also there are plans for the supervisors use subject teachers to invigilate the subjects that they teach.
We'll bring you details shortly. Also coming up, EC fight off accusations. It has been secretly registering people to pay to pad the voters register ahead of the 2024 election.
Time the commission is undertaking a registration exercise, we do it with the political parties. So it's not possible. It cannot happen that the commission will register people without the political party.
We have details as the Electoral Commission releases the provisional voters register to political parties after days of back and forth.
They're taking the registration exercise, we do it with the political parties. So it's not possible. It cannot happen that the commission will register people without the political party.
More from a busy day at the EC headquarters, where the IGP has been issuing a stern warning to political parties and its supporters not to take the law into their hands ahead of the polls.
And the few who may choose not to live within the law. Therefore, we also want to let you know that we'll stop at nothing within the law in getting you to face the consequences of your actions. Also,
same script, different actors. Presidential candidate for the MPP and the NDC may disagree on who should lead the nation, but when they agree on something, they really agree.
The Coding for Employment program, which is targeted to train 1 million coders with in-demand digital skills.
In collaboration with the private sector, we will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills.
8 p.m. Pius Kojobaka will be here with Prime Business.
Economist Professor Peter Quartey entreats government to remain focused on achieving fiscal consolidation despite positive signs of economic recovery.
Because we are in the election year, if we are not careful, we will put aside some of these gains and rather pursue the elections at the peril of fiscal consolidation.
Later at 8:15, we'll bring you Prime Sports.
Well, MPP flag bearer is already targeting medals in the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles as he reveals plan to support athletes with funds to qualify, prepare and compete at the next edition of the Games.
Thanks for choosing us. Stay with us for details. Now, the West African Examinations Council says it has uncovered a grand scheme by some schools to engage in mass cheating in the ongoing West African Senior High School Certificate Examination, WASI, taking place in 1,000 centers across the country. According to WIEC, some candidates are paying as much as 500 cedis with the hope of receiving assistance from invigilators. Speaking to Joy News, Head of Public Affairs John Kapi cautioned school heads and their collaborators to desist from the practice or they will be sanctioned accordingly.
So we have picked up intelligence from a number of places across the country for very obvious reasons. I wouldn't want to put that out for now because we wouldn't want them to cover their tracks. But we are very much aware that they are charging candidates between 200 and 500 Ghana cedis in some of the areas. Then also there are plans for the supervisors use subject teachers to invigilate the subjects that they teach, which is one of the provisions against our rules. We don't allow subject teachers to invigilate the subjects that they teach, And then there are also other areas where, some people have constituted themselves into groups that are going to be stationed at vantage points. They will receive question papers, solve, and then send the responses by electronic means to the invigilators to pass it on to the candidates. So these are things that we have picked up, and we are sending out our agents to follow up on these things, ascertain the veracity, and if possible, bring to book all those who are breaching the rules of the examination.
Well, John Kapi himself joins us on that line now with more details. So grateful to you for joining us. Now, students are writing Maths Tuesday. How many candidates are writing this year's WASSCE?
We have in excess of 400,000 candidates who are writing the WASSCE this year.
Okay. Now, aside the amount these candidates are paying, what other concern has WAEC picked up?
Well, the concerns that we have picked up are quite many. We have already talked about the monies that they are charging these candidates to assist them. We also have issues that have to do with invigilation and supervision. Then we have also these, people who have constituted themselves into groups willing to assist. Then we also have in some situations where even if you go there and there's no subject teacher as an invigilator, they are willing to, as it were, push that person in the course of the exam, where even they project these things on the chalkboards or whiteboards for the candidates to copy. So these are some of the things that we have picked up, and we are working towards that seriously.
So what are you doing to the school heads and schools who are involved in this practice?
Well, so far, whatever we've gathered is by way of allegations. We've not been able to ascertain the veracity of these allegations. But if it happens that there are heads of school who are complicit in this area, we would first of all cause their arrest and then forward their names to the Ghana Education Service, where sanctions will be applied as and when necessary.
Mr. Kapi, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, let's just stay in education because it's been long. But finally, there has been some agreement between the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, and government, raising hopes that academic life on colleges of education campuses will resume this week. CTAG has indicated it will formally call off the strike by close of Tuesday, August 20, after a council meeting on the issue. This development is expected to bring a much-needed end to the strike that has impacted academic life at colleges of education across the country. Kenneth Jesse was at the meeting where this agreement was made and reports.
Well, after striking for more than 2 months over their working conditions, CTAG has finally reached an agreement with government which could see to the strike being called off. Now, after a crunch meeting between CTAG, the National Labour Commission, the Education Ministry, and other stakeholders, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, announced that they had reached an agreement with CTAG.
We have engaged in negotiations with reps of CTAG, and I'm happy to inform the general public that we have made very significant progress, and I want to believe that from here it is most likely that after tomorrow the teachers will return to school after they have had consultations with their council.
National Trustee of CTAG, Maxwell Bunu, also indicated that they will convey a council meeting where this will be deliberated and the strike will be called off within this week.
And as a National CTAG Trustee, I don't think, with my experience here, it will be prudent for CTAG to remain on strike. So as we have indicated here, we would certainly go back and convey all the issues that have been discussed, approved of by the officials here, CTAG inclusive, so that by close of tomorrow, with the consultation with council, I think we'll do the needful, because we cannot continue to be on strike forever. Certainly the concerns we have, that's why we are here. And if those concerns have been addressed, I think it is just common sense knowledge for us to get back and then do our work.
A back and forth between government and CTAG resulted in this strike dragging for more than 60 days, affecting mostly the students. from the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, Kenneth Jesse, for Joy News.
Well, joining me now is the General Secretary of the Principals of Colleges of Education, Dr. Samuel Adai-Boateng, and spokesperson for CTAC, Dr. Dominic Owusu. Grateful to you. Let me start with you, Dr. Owusu. Will the strike be called off Tuesday after the council meeting, from what you're gathering?
Good evening to your cherished listeners. The strike might be called off or might not be called off based on our National Council's decision tomorrow. Okay.
But from what you are picking, I know there are conversations you have between yourself. You have platforms that you talk on. Is there an indication that indeed the strike will be called off?
I've monitored our platform closely. There have been more than 2,000 messages pouring in since we had the meeting. And from what the grassroots members are discussing, I've observed two key issues. And from what I've generalized, they are saying that the strike will not be called off if there are conditional clauses and no timelines for the payment of the migration of our migration arrears. And also,
but Doc,
raised was the fact that
yeah, let me hear you.
Other concerns raised was based on the following: one, no acceptable timeline for the payment of migration arrears, and again, no timeline for the payment of our 2023 BRA. Others have also raised concern that there are no timelines for the payment of our 2024 BRA. And then the payment date for the migration has been shifted from September to October. So these are genuine concerns that have been raised. But I must quickly admit that there has been a major breakthrough today, because one of the challenges or one of the bone of contention was the staff audit migration that hitherto we've been asked to be given.
Okay.
But today, we observe that based on the agreement, it has been given to CTAC. So now, the nomenclature that will be officially referred to by all staff in the colleges, academic staff, assistant lecturer going forward. And it's a major breakthrough, and we are grateful for that.
But you're still not calling off the strike tomorrow from what you are monitoring from your platform?
We have to be frank. We've been on strike for 71 days now. And as you and I know, embarking on legitimate strike, our salaries have also been frozen amidst other intimidation, among others. So our members are saying that conditional clause that was placed there, that until we call off the strike before our July salary will be given to us, is a non-starter. Now, if they want us to call off the strike, then they have to pay us first so that it serves as a motivation, and then also it serves to danger us before we can contemplate to take steps to call off the strike.
Grateful to you for joining us. Now, let's also bring in Dr. Adai-Boateng, who is the secretary to the principals of the colleges. Now, Doc, I mean, I'm sure earlier was good news, considering that your association's constant call for the strike to be called off. Today, it looked earlier that it will, but now we're being told that this strike will not be called off. How do you react to it?
Good evening to your cherished listeners. Good evening to all staff of colleges of education, especially our tutors. Did I say now our lecturers? And then good evening to all principals and everyone listening to us. Indeed, it's good news for us to have reached certain agreements today. Let me quickly say that, well, I am not on a CTAC platform, so I wouldn't be able to tell what is going on the platform. But it is strange that the spokesperson who just spoke right now, I've never met him in any of the CTAC leadership meetings before. So I'm wondering what portfolio he really has, because in all our dealings with CTAC, I've never met him as a spokesperson. So I'm wondering really how he is a spokesperson. Maybe,
but he's telling you what the members are telling them on their platform, which means that it's not likely that he'll call off the strike tomorrow, as we are expecting.
So that's where I am wondering, because we have had engagements with all stakeholders, especially with CITAG, and the leadership was present today. And all of them, not even one differed in opinion. All of them were of the opinion that looking at how far we have come, they believe that when they report to their council, the strike could be called off tomorrow. In fact, they were very, very, very clear on that. If you listen to Mr. Maswabunu in his submission, he told you that they will meet tomorrow and call off the strike. So if we meet with leadership that we know, all along they are the people who represent the constituencies. And this leadership are saying that looking at how far they have come, they believe that the strike could be called off tomorrow. I'm really at a loss where that spokesperson is coming from and which platform he's gathering these from, because seriously, it's the first time I'm seeing him. It's the first time I'm hearing about him.
All right. I'm grateful to you. Let's see how Tuesday, goes. This is still the Joy Prime. And moving away from that into other stories, the Auditor General has cited the Controller and Accountant General, the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana Revenue Authority, and the Minerals Commission for not disclosing how much royalties were collected from gold export in 2023. The AG has disclosed that their audit of the 9 gold mining companies have revealed that the companies have exported a total amount of 53.1 billion cedis worth of gold in 2023. According to the AG, although the Controller and Accountant General reported 2.7 billion cedis as royalties, the Controller, BOG, and the GRA and the Minerals Commission have failed to provide data capturing the total export and right taxes to be collected. Listen to the justification provided by Assistant Controller and Accountant General in charge of National Accounts, Dr. Mark Effort Adade.
Accounting for gold, Mr. Chairman, is technically an emerging issue. But again, that does not mean we are not accounting for the monies that we receive in this regard. As far as GRA is able to collect these monies and report them to CAGD, we are also able to include them in the national account. But when it comes to accounting for gold, there are some technicalities involved to be able to get the figures right, including provisions. So when the auditors brought this observation, we acknowledge it, and the way forward is that to start establishing the systems and the rules of engagement with all the relevant parties to make sure we're able to get appropriate information on timely basis for inclusion in the national account. So, Mr. Chairman, this for now is a work in progress. So, Ministry of Finance, GRA, and Bank of Ghana, we started the engagement. At Controller, we are able to only report on what information we'll be able to receive from the relevant parties.
Now, on the issue of under-declaration of how much government allocated in the 2023 budget, Acting Controller and Accountant General Kwesi Ajay said the 32 million cedis difference is as a result of depreciation.
Bank of Ghana is reporting 505.45 billion, and Controller is reporting 5.418 billion. There's a difference of 32 million. Where is the money?
What happened was that we at Controller used the spot rate, the balance. We picked the figures from the balance sheet, from the bank statement. So the rate that conversion was done, that's the rate we use. But then the PIAC, when the letters come from Ministry of Finance and we write to Bank of Ghana for the distribution, it takes time. It takes some couple of days before the accounts are distributed and then the accounts debited. So they use the rates, PIAC uses the rate that the authorization was sent to Bank of Ghana to do the distribution. And it takes some couple of days. But we at Controller will wait till after the accounts have been debited. Then we'll pick the spot rates at that time to do our computation. So I think that's where the discrepancy is coming from.
Meanwhile, Minister for Youth and Sport, Mustafa Yusuf, has also provided some clarity to the Public Account Committee on why work has delayed on most of the construction of youth resource centers across the country.
Obviously, Chairman, and I appreciate the challenges that we are currently facing challenges with the funding, because the National Youth Authority was the institution funding these stadiums that we are building. But when our colleague took the Common Fund disbursement to the Supreme Court, and the Common Fund was directed that we're not eligible per the laws that we have passed here to get 5% of the allocation of the Common Fund to the National Youth Authority, which was the source of the funding for this facility. We had started having issues for the past 3 years. So we decided that the little that we are getting from the Common Fund, because she has to use her discretion instead of what you approved, the Parliament approved, directed because of the Supreme Court ruling, the little that we are getting is that we are now making sure that we finish them in phases, because the money that originally the budget that we had cannot continue to use work on all the.
Now, 4 years after President Akufo-Addo cut swords for a water project in Tamale, Yendi and Damongo, these communities remain without water. A feature by Forte States Evans, Aziamo Mensah and Adjoa Adobia also reveal that the promised project never commenced. The Ghana Water Company has also given a contrary account to President Akufo-Addo's claim that funding had already been secured in 2020 for the project. Here are excerpts of the feature.
Access to potable water, a basic necessity of life, has eluded residents in parts of northern Ghana for decades. To address the perennial water crisis, President Akufo-Addo cut sword for 3 major water projects in Tamale, Yendi and Damongo in 2020.
I'm happy to announce the government has secured funding for the Upper East, Tamale, Damongo, Yendi water supply project.
These projects were meant to alleviate the people's plight. In June this year, that is 4 years after the president's grand sword-cutting ceremonies, the Fourth Estate visited the areas that were to benefit to verify if these projects have been executed. Surprisingly, we discovered that nothing had happened on the Tamale, Yendi and Damongo water projects. This unfulfilled promise by President Akufo-Addo means that residents continue to struggle for water. The team first visited Tamale and interacted with community members about their water situation.
I have 4 children, and it became very difficult for us during the dry season to access water. It was difficult for me even to get water to bathe my children.
Muhammad Hamza also explains how they have had to be coping with unconventional water purification methods.
During dry season, we are having water crisis. We could not know where we will go and fetch the water. We have some nearby villages, 2 villages, Futa and then Pagaza, that place that we used to go and fetch water. That place, if you use 7 jerrycans, if you come and put aloe inside, you get 2 jerrycans.
From Tamale, the president moved to Damongo for another sword-cutting ceremony.
Every day, promises over promises, but the construction didn't, or the contractor didn't come around. And we're giving pictures, so the contractor has packed in and he will start the water project. The container is still there up to now.
We met with Mr. Karim Musa Kasubari, the municipal chief executive of Gonja Central, and asked him why the president's promise has not been fulfilled 4 years on.
Yeah, the main project, is coming from the central government. So that government, as we can know, or maybe they are still doing the process, still ongoing. I don't know, maybe it may be the financial problem.
The Fourth Estate met with the managing director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Dr. Clifford Brimer, to inquire why the president's promise has not been fulfilled 4 years on.
We even had finished the design, everything. The only thing that was left was the bank to pronounce that the project has come live. Wait and see how government is going to go with their debts, and because everybody was now jittery. No bank will spend a penny if they're not sure of getting their money. So they also held on. And so Tamale, Damango, Yendi could not come on.
Well, away from that, time after time, some residents who live in flood-prone areas keep hope alive that one day their plight of having to run from home when the rainy season sets in will be addressed. But it seems that hope is gradually waning. In this flood of trauma report, Hannah Dami finds out the hope has now become resilient against the natural phenomenon, and here is a report. Here in this bulletin, but I'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Well, let's do election headquarters now. That is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. The Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, also by the Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. And on the election headquarters today, the Electoral Commission is refuting allegations it has been illegally registering persons to pad the voters' register ahead of the 2024 election. Pressure group Election Watch had made the claim, insisting that that could be the reason why the EC was not releasing the voters' register to the political parties. But addressing journalists at a news conference, Deputy EC Chairperson Dr. Bosman Asare described the claim as unfounded, questioning the credibility of the group making the allegations. Meanwhile, IGP Dr. George Akufo-Dampare has been issuing a stern warning to political parties and their supporters not to take the law into their hands ahead of the polls, or they will face serious consequences. Kweku Asante of our political desk has the rest of the story.
A group calling itself Election Watch this morning alleged that the Electoral Commission was secretly registering persons onto the voters' register. But the Electoral Commission is flatly denying that allegation. They say that cannot happen, and per the laws governing voter registration exercise, they cannot do any registration without political parties being in the know.
Anytime the Commission is undertaking a registration exercise, we do it with the political parties. So it's not possible. It cannot happen that the Commission will register people without the political parties. So
the EC has meanwhile been announcing modalities for the voter exhibition exercise. From the 20th to the 27th, the Electoral Commission is going to put the provisional register on display at the various polling stations across the country for persons who have registered and have been captured onto the voters' register to go out there and check that all their details are correct.
Thus, the provisional voters' register will be displayed at all polling stations, which will now be constituted as exhibition centers throughout the country to enable all registered voters check and ensure that their names are in the voters' register. The purpose of the exhibition exercise is to allow registered voters to verify their details.
The Electoral Commission had come under intense fire from the NDC, who had been demanding that a provisional voters' register be given to the NDC and other political parties. According to the EC, the copies have been made available to all political parties, and as of this morning, the NDC had come for their copy.
We wish to state that the external drives containing the provisional voters' register are ready for pickup. However, we can state on record that the NDC has collected its external drive, which contains the provisional voters' register. The other parties are also collecting them as we speak.
Prior to this press conference to briefed the nation on the upcoming voter exhibition exercise. The EC had been meeting the Election Security Task Force led by IGP Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, who has been issuing a stern warning to all political parties and their supporters to desist from causing trouble at this exhibition exercise and also ahead of the 2024 election.
In terms of peace, security, law and order from our side, and also in terms of transparency, fairness from the side of all the other stakeholders, will be second to none, so that our beloved country continue to be a trailblazer for the rest of the continent and beyond. We want to use this to urge all the stakeholders, especially the political parties, that all the issues, all the concerns that they may have in the course of this part of the process, they should ensure that we use due process of engagement of within the law to handle every situation. We don't want to see any situation where anybody will make an attempt to take the law into his or her own hands. If that happens, we will work within the law to deal with the situation.
In the coming days, the tension are set to go up as the Electoral Commission put this provisional voters register on display for persons to go out there and check that their names and their details are properly captured. A lot of allegations are going to go around. The Electoral Commission is urging the media and the general public to treat some of these strong allegations against them with the contempt they deserve. They insist that they have all that it takes to conduct a peaceful process that will ensure that the will of the Ghanaian people is respected. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, the Electoral Commission headquarters here in Accra.
It's almost the same script, but with a different cast, as presidential candidate of the governing NPP and the opposition NDC take different stances on key national issues in their various manifestos. As a member of our political desk, Elton Brobe reports the approach may be different, but the subject is one they agree on.
According to the Electoral Commission figures for the 2020 elections, the youth between the ages of 18 and 35 formed the majority on the voters' roll, accounting for 9.5 million eligible voters. The group is likely to determine the outcome of the December 7 general election, therefore a focus on them by the two political parties on digitization. The NDC's John Mahama is promising a $3 billion investment in the digital space for the youth.
To support indigenous companies in fostering the growth of the digital economy. Our brothers and sisters and children who are interested in coding will have the opportunity to participate in our Coding for Employment program, which is targeted to train 1 million coders with in-demand digital skills for the growing business process outsourcing and knowledge process outsourcing ecosystems.
The MPP's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has a similar program for the youth.
In collaboration with the private sector, we will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills, including software development, to provide job opportunities worldwide.
Elton Brobe for Joy News.
Now, meanwhile, the NDC will launch its manifesto at the University of Education, Winneba, on Saturday, although the document is yet to be made public. Speeches by the party's flag bearer on the campaign trail gave an idea of what is likely to feature. Maxwell Agbaba, who has been embedded in the NDC campaign team, reports that, among other things, the 24-hour economy policy, the setting up of a women's development bank, free academic facility user fees for level 100 students, scrapping of some taxes the party describes as obnoxious, the establishment of farming service centers, and the fight against corruption will feature strongly.
Supporters of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, gathered at the Jubilee Park in Tamale for the launch of the party's campaign. This event marked the beginning of what is expected to be an intense campaign period. Since the launch, the NDC flag bearer has toured the Upper East region, launched the Youth Manifesto at UPSA, engaged with the young people at Bukum, toured the Volta region, and more. Key among his messages, which gives an idea of what will be featured in the yet-to-be-launched NDC manifesto, is a proposal for a 24-hour economy, which the NDC flag bearer says will create jobs, and more jobs.
NDC has the men and the women
And it's not like what the MPP said, we have the men. And we didn't know they were area boys. And our first priority is going to be job creation, so that we can create jobs for the teeming youth of this country. And that is why I'm proposing the 24-hour economic policy. The policy is going to be linked with aggressive food production and modernization of our agriculture. And that's why I'm saying in every district, we're going to create farmer service centers. We will bring the tractors, the planters, the plows, the seeds, the fertilizer. And if you're a farmer, you must register with the center. And at the beginning of the farming season, we'll give you all the inputs that you need so that you can produce your crops.
The establishment of a Women's Development Bank is also high on the agenda for the NDC flag bearer if elected. This, he says, will provide Ghanaian women with loans for their businesses. The NDC flag bearer has also indicated that scrapping what he describes as obnoxious taxes will be a priority. They include the betting tax and e-levy.
The matter be street matter.
It be street matter.
Yeah,
if you talk pidgin.
Exactly, make it one pidgin. So my boys and girls on the streets, they are very happy. If only you assure us and promise us that you are going to abolish the 10% bear tax.
This one be the yawa of the day. You see, boys they hustle, and job no day. So now the bet, they do small, get money for gobe. So we talk already. Say where we come, the betting tax will go remove them. E-levy too will go remove them.
John Mahama says he's committed to ensuring that first-year students at Ghana's universities do not pay academic facility user fees, despite skepticism from some sectors.
Well, back from a holiday, and there's a lot for us to gist you on, and the lady with the gist, Becky Bex is here with all that you need. Hi, Becky, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Brace. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm fantastic.
Yeah. Give us more.
Give us more. Whiten.
Yeah, it is.
I love it. So over the weekend, a lot has happened. It looks like the musicians are doing more of the work. So I'm bringing you more of that work wrapped up in this beautiful package for you this evening. And the rest of the world. Yeah. So another thing that happened at the weekend, remember that, or you do know that Kate Franklin was in town performing last night. And one of the things that stood out was the fact that he came down to dance with Ohima Mercy. Luckily, we have Ohima Mercy explaining, the whole feeling of that particular moment.
A legend like Kek.
With us
here.
I am trending for Tahila.
Okay.
It is Tahila dance. Amazingly. I never knew I could dance.
Okay.
Especially when I was doing this. Where is it coming from? I think it has some kind of vibe that pushes you to do what you have never done. So, me, we understand I'm doing it. I don't know where it's coming from. I think there is a Holy Ghost dance. Hey, this is how you Messi dance.
But, I mean, what's your general overview of the event?
It was amazing.
So this is
Kek Franklin or Ohima Mercy?
No, this is Becky and Kojo dance. Like we're doing our own thing, yeah.
Yeah. Should we brush our teeth this evening?
Exactly. This evening, and then before we go to bed, and then when we wake up tomorrow morning,
we brush our teeth with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent,
every smile matters as well.
began the week. We wish you all the best this week. We pray that you get more money.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Am I preaching something?
You're preaching.
Please go on
Preacher
to
on my sister.
myjoyonline.com. That's where you find all the news. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Pius Kojobaka is up next with Prime Business.
Bye.
A warm welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojobaka. Economist Professor Peter Quartey has entreated government to remain focused on achieving fiscal consolidation despite positive signs of economic recovery. His advice is coming at a time the World Bank and the IMF have given a firm assurance of Ghana's classification as a debt-distressed country as soon as it reaches a final deal with external creditors. Reacting to the development, Professor Peter Quartey urged government to remain fiscally disciplined and not to be carried away by the verdict of the IMF and the World Bank.
We tells you we are on track. I mean, he was quite pleased with the progress so far. He mentioned the revenue numbers. He mentioned how much government expenditure has been able to come down during the period. So it's a positive signal, and I think, but we shouldn't be solely headed. We shouldn't go thinking all is well. We still have to work harder. As he mentioned, there's room for improvement. So let's continue to work hard, especially because we are in the election year. If we are not careful, we'll put aside some of these gains and rather pursue the elections and at the peril of fiscal consolidation. So let's be very careful as we do. We've seen this before. 2016, we went beyond threshold, and that also cost us a lot. So we don't want to revisit the past.
Tax consultant Francis Timoboy has urged political leaders to be mindful about the various tax reforms they intend to implement when they assume power in 2025. Although he welcomed the 9 major wide-ranging tax reforms of the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he said most of them could have been reduced rather than being scrapped entirely. He spoke to Joy Business.
That policy is very fantastic, and I wish that I could even make that proposal to Parliament before the elections. You remember August 2018, the government decided to separate the VAT from the levies. And so immediately about 6% of every purchase of goods and service becomes a cost to you as a business. In principle, if you're a business, you are not a consumer. And therefore, any cost you incur, you're supposed to pass it on to the final consumer. But here's the case, the separation had made it such that you have to absorb the 6% into your cost buildup. So it didn't really look like a consumption tax, and we were rather punishing the production system. So if it's able to reinstate the old position as we had in 2018, fantastic. Prices of goods and services may come down, and businesses may have that free cash flow to operate. They are not supposed to bear these levies. It is the consumer who must bear it.
Away from that, one of the leading electronic payment platforms, eTransact, says it will be leveraging innovation and research to provide unbeatable service delivery to meet the growing needs of their customers. Board chairman of eTransact, Professor Paul Frimpong-Manson, tells Joy Business they are committed to deliver seamless payments that are fast, convenient, and secure.
To work together. We are going to be pragmatists. That is, we are going to be open. No, we are just going to be pragmatists and see things that will work and be bold enough to make them work. We are going to be innovative. I've said it. Innovation, new ideas, creative. To stay on top, you always need to be innovative. These are the things that we are going to do. We are going to work with the media, with all our major stakeholders, and we are also going to embark on research to make sure that we know the needs of the customers and how to keep them and how to bring in more customers. It's the game of numbers, and we are on top for that.
Now, the Chief Executive of MGA Consulting Ghana Limited, Michael Abiel, is optimistic that regular capacity building for sales and executives could boost the output of sales functions in corporate organizations. He explained that prioritizing the sales function in organizations could greatly improve revenue and growth. He spoke to Joy Business at the closing ceremony of the Maiden National Sales Leaders Conference held in Accra.
The closing ceremony of the National Sales Leaders Conference provided a platform for sales leaders and executives to discuss solutions to challenges and available opportunities. The two-day conference hosted 7 seminars, 6 panel discussions, and over 1,500 salespersons from diverse industries. Michael Abiel, Chief Executive of MGA Consulting Ghana Limited, detailed the success of the conference.
The whole idea is that when we transform the sales leaders, they impact their sales team. And when they impact their sales team, revenue for the organizations will grow, and the organizations will now recruit more and make the economy a better place.
On his part, Clarence Kofi, Chief Executive of Core Event Solutions, expressed optimism that the event would transform sales operations in the country.
Having all these guys come together, they realize that no, this has really, given them the platform to really have a say in whatever happens in their organizations. And from the discussions and from the advice that were given by these experts who came on board, I think this is really going to turn around many sales functions in organizations.
One of the participants, Yab Watma, a sales executive in the insurance sector, spoke with Joy Business.
It was very, very beneficial, especially with the sales topics that were selected. I learned that I have to be on top of technology, especially in my industry, the insurance industry, and not really think about my commission, but think about the value that I'm going to give to my clients. Because my customer service is what is going to give me referrals and sustain my old clients. And what stood up for me was the fact that I have to spend more energy retaining my old clients than getting new clients.
The Amenfiman Rural Bank PLC is set to grant a loan facility of up to 400,000 cedis to support small and micro-scale enterprises to boost local productivity amidst the prevailing economic conditions. The groundbreaking initiative comes as the bank records an unprecedented total deposit of a little over 1 billion cedis as of the end of June 2024, as well as other financial support programs from the government. More in this report.
To close in 2023 with a customer deposit of 780 million cedis, the Amenfiman Rural Bank at the beginning of this year set a 1 billion cedi deposit target. The bank focused on expanding its client base and provided support to augment business operations of clients. The historic record represents an impressive growth of 70.03% from the same period in June 2023, from approximately 631 million to a little over 1 billion cedis in June 2024. Following the unprecedented growth, the bank is setting aside 500 million cedis through its Donkomi promo to provide financial support and investment to micro and small enterprises in the country. The chief executive of the bank, Dr. Alexander Asma, explains the move aligns seamlessly with the bank's vision to empower the MSME sector, driving growth and aiding the recovery of national economy.
We set up an objective to grow our deposit to 1 billion by the end of 2024. This was announced at the opening of our Doom branch in February by the chairman that our deposit is going to go up to 1 billion by the end of the year. We were able to mobilize our teams and incentivize our team to go out and onboard customers and grow the deposit. And by the grace of God, we had been able to achieve this target by end of July. And so we have enough funds in our hands, mobilized from our loyal customers. But what do we do with money? As a bank, we have very few options to do with money. When customers put their money in the bank, we're supposed to invest the money into productive sectors of the economy to help the economy to grow.
Access to flexible and affordable credit facilities is a bane to many growing business. Without the usual stringent collateral requirements and at exceptionally low interest rate of 2.5% monthly, many businesses, especially women and youth-led ones, are expected to receive financial support to increase productivity and stay.
And that's it for Prime Business for today. I am Pius Kojo Baka. We've got more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Prime Sports is next.
Hi there, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbah. Now, the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has unveiled his plans for the sports sector if elected to the office of president. At an event held in Takoradi, the vice president, among other things, revealed plans to initiate an Operation Olympics Glory program with the hope of helping Ghana prepare and compete effectively to win medals in the Olympic Games due to take place in 2028. We have more for you on his plans for the sector in this report.
Speaking at the launch of the NPP manifesto in Takoradi on Sunday, Dr. Bawumia said his government will start an Operation Olympics Glory program by dedicating resources towards the preparation and readiness of athletes to the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, USA.
We are going to start an Operation Olympics Glory program by dedicating resources towards the preparation of our athletes and their readiness for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, USA, including where necessary, targeting specific sports for medals.
As part of a broader sports development vision, Dr. Bawumia also announced the establishment of a Ghana School Sports Secretariat along with a sports development fund to facilitate the growth of the sector.
We will establish a Ghana School Sports Secretariat, which will be an agency under the ministry responsible for sports in collaboration with other stakeholders such as the GES and sports federations. My government will seek school-level collaboration with international sports bodies like the NBA and the NFL to make Ghana a hub for these emerging sports in Africa.
On his plan to help the Ghana Premier League clubs, Dr. Bawumia says he will help the clubs with logistics and provide support for the club's operation and player remunerations.
We will support the revival of the Premier League and clubs to improve commercial viability and create related jobs by directing policy through the National Lotteries Authority and the Gaming Commission to establish and fund a sports employment module to assist premier clubs fund operational expenses, including player remuneration. And also we will provide a bus to each Premier League club.
Meanwhile, some have questioned the flag bearer's commitment to fulfilling these promises due to the inability of his party to fulfill all of its promises for the sector in the last 7.5 years. However, the party has assured of its commitment to deliver outstanding and new promises, insisting it has contributed the most to sports development in the last few years.
Attention to some CAF interclub competitions where Inson and Summertex impressed in the CAF Confederations Cup and the CAF Champions League, respectively. Well, for Summertex, they defeated Victoria United away in Cameroon, 1-0, and for Inson at the Craft Sports Stadium on Sunday, they thumped Elect Sports of Chad by 3-0 to secure a 3-goal advantage ahead of the second leg on Saturday.
Nswatraman FC made a remarkable start to their CAF Confederation Cup journey, securing a commanding 3-0 win against Chad's Elect Sport at the Accra Sports Stadium on Sunday afternoon. The Ghana FA Cup champions took full advantage of their home ground, dominating the match, particularly in the final 15 minutes of the first half, to seal an important victory in their debut appearance. The breakthrough came in the 30th minute when Mohamed Abdul Rahman found the back of the net after a well-executed team play.
The gym is approaching, and it's the opening goal for Nswatraman. Abdul Rahman finally breaks the deadlock. It was always going to be him.
Just 4 minutes later, Edu Kwabena Maida doubled in Swatraman's lead with a clinical finish.
The middle, Michael Aka, here is Maida, can he score the second? And then Swatraman have doubled their lead.
Roman then added his second goal of the game in the 36th minute, ensuring the host went into halftime with a convincing 3-0 advantage.
Now Walid, Abdul Rahman makes it 3 points for Swatraman. They are on some demolition exercise.
The 3 goals were enough, as Swatraman held on to finish the game with an impressive 3-goal advantage ahead of the second leg in Cameroon on Saturday, August 24. Meanwhile, in the CAF Champions League, Emmanuel Mame's second-half goal gave FC Samatex the advantage over Victoria United after the first leg of their CAF Champions League preliminary round. The forward netted 2 minutes into the second half to secure victory for Samatex against the Cameroonian side at the Japoma Sports Stadium in Douala. It's a win on their first attempt in the interclub competition as they hope to make their mark on their debut. The return leg is scheduled to be played at the Accra Sports Stadium on Sunday, August 25.
Well, big congratulations to them. Well, turn attention to the English Premier League, and it did start on Friday, but Guinea's Ghana, they launched the special match day event with the hope of giving fans of the Premier League in Ghana an eventful experience to watch the game every weekend. My colleague Kwame Benaya was there at the maiden edition and now reports.
The event, which took place at the Bandor Beer Garden in Usu, had hundreds of football fans as they assembled to watch Chelsea and Manchester City square off on match day 1 of the new Premier League season. The atmosphere was tensed as the game commenced, with fans glued to the screen, eager to see how the game unfolded. Despite Chelsea dominating in the first half with numerous chances, they were unable to capitalize on them against the defending champions, which left some fans frustrated. It was Manchester City who opened the deadlock as Erling Haaland attacked a pass from Bernardo Silva in the first half to give the defending champions the lead in the 18th minute. Mateo Kovacic doubled the lead in the 84th minute with a sweet strike from the outside of the box to secure victory and all 3 points for Pep Guardiola's men. While some fans, reluctant to leave, found a perfect reason to stay and enjoy some music, others spoke to Joy Sports.
It doesn't look like it's ever ending. Our troubles from last season are followed us to this season. So we'll just take it like that. 2-0 is distant. We'll just take it like that. We have no trouble. The Guineans have been doing this since the inception of Guinness. And this time around, they've done it great. So we expect more of this from Guinness as we go on.
I think it was a nice game. I saw a lot of intensity in the game, but obviously the better side won. Well, if you look at the euphoria here, it's massive. I mean, people are enjoying it, and I think that, something like this will bring a lot of football enthusiasts together.
This has been really wonderful. Actually, for me, this is my second edition here. The other time they hosted was United versus Tottenham here. Also came for that one. It was a nice encounter, but this one too has been great.
I was expecting us to win. The win was because I wanted us to put a surprise because we're the underdogs. But it was good. I loved it. I loved it. Plenty girls, plenty drinks, football, vibes, energy. I love it.
Brand manager of Guinness Ghana, Wilma Morsai, expressed her excitement about this year's edition.
The energy was there. It was bigger, it was better. I think this is our 4th edition, and everybody came out because you know how we do it, right? And this time around, we launched the Guinness FPL, where our ultimate winner gets a fully funded trip to watch an EPL game next season. So obviously the energy was there. We used this opportunity to also launch our Guinness football movie that's going to be showing on Showmax as well. And of course, we gave the general epic experience that was crafted by football. When we talk about football, we talk about Guinness. Guinness and football have been the best combo since time immemorial, right? This time, Guinness is the official beer sponsor of EPL. So we've been doing Guinness match days, but this time around it's much special to us because this time we are coming in as the, beer owners of EPL. So it's been an amazing time for us. And there's so much more that we'll be doing with EPL. Just stay tuned, watch us, follow us, and you see all the amazing things that we'll be doing.
The evening ended on a positive note, leaving football fans with smiles, a feeling of satisfaction and anticipation for even more excitement in the next edition.
So we have for you in Prime Sports tonight with me, Razak Musbah. Thank you so much for your company. We'll be back at 8:30.